Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board as we are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino almost every Wednesday throughout the entire season during the football that we had in the NFL. Sal Paolantonio, the great Sal Paolantonio, joined the program as he does right now from ESPN, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line. We like to call it Wednesdays with Vito's son. Good afternoon, pal. How are you today?
Yeah, we're good. Eagles are in the Super Bowl. Holy man. You know, when your hometown team, the team that you've covered for 34 years, is in the Super Bowl, you're in demand everywhere, all at once, snap, crackle, pop. It's a crazy, crazy week about to happen. I am going to New Orleans on Saturday, and I'll be there until Tuesday of the following week.
Wow. It's a great city. I don't know if I could last in New Orleans for that long.
Oh yeah. Well,
okay.
Well, I'll be working, Mitch and Pauly. I will be working just like I was 2 years ago when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl in Scottsdale. And, there are some interesting things. I went back and I watched a lot of the tape of that game of Super Bowl 57, which I think are instructive for this game. You know, every single one of these close games by the Kansas City Chiefs has two signature definitions. One, Patrick Mahomes' improvisation on third down and in the fourth quarter, his ability to extend the drives. And that was true in Super Bowl 57. Remember, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs had 15 first downs in the second half against the Eagles defense, an Eagles defense that led the league in sacks most of the year that season. It was so bad that after the game in the locker room, Brandon Graham broke down and apologized to the team for getting no pressure on Patrick Mahomes in the second half. That's how bad it was.
Well, but that's who he is and how he operates, right, Sal Pell? I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes in a big game. They were dogs in that game against Philadelphia. They won it anyway. They were dogs last year to the 49ers. They won that game in double overtime. Yep. And now they're favored against your Philadelphia Eagles. What do you make of that number?
Yeah, you got to be prepared for Patrick Mahomes in the fourth quarter, and especially on third down. You got to have a spy on him. You know, I think in this particular game, it'll be different because Vic Fangio used the spy on Jaden Daniels. He used Oren Burks. Philosophically, he's against the spy, but he used Oren Burks on Jaden Daniels. I thought Sean McDermott did a poor job of spying Patrick Mahomes, especially in the fourth quarter. They got to him a little bit early in the game, but then they'd let their guard down. So you can't let your guard down against Patrick Mahomes. I think the Eagles will have enough firepower in this game to win it if they can take care of Mahomes getting out of the pocket. Remember, they had a 10-point lead going into the halftime locker room.
Right.
And teams that had a double-digit lead going into the halftime locker room in the Super Bowl were 36-1. The only loss was Matt Ryan to the Pats. Now it's 36-2. And teams that scored 4 touchdowns or more were undefeated in the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game going into Super Bowl 57. That's the only time a team has lost in the Super Bowl or the NFC or AFC Championship game scoring 4 touchdowns or more. The Eagles will have enough firepower. Remember, the biggest difference between the two teams last year, 2 years ago, and this time around. 2 years ago, the Eagles had Miles Sanders. He was nothing in the Super Bowl, didn't do a thing, had no catches, 16 yards rushing. Miles Sanders out, Saquon Barkley in. The Eagles will have enough firepower to get an early lead on Mahomes like they did last time 2 years ago. The question is, will Vic Fangio have enough defensively to limit Patrick Mahomes in the second half? The Eagles will have the lead again going into halftime of Super Bowl 59.
There you go. That's strong. And Hurts was awesome in that game other than the fumble before halftime. And I was going to ask you that, too, because 2 years ago, a lot of Eagles fans blamed Gannon for the game plan and what happened in the second half. Is it a big difference, huge difference, I guess, to have Fangio? And you were high on this defense and talking them up a couple months ago. What do you think of Fangio's second half Fangio game plan? And I'm a little disappointed with how the defense has played the last two games. Stafford almost brought him back, and then Washington moved the ball but turned it over 4 times.
Yeah, they did, but they turned the ball over. Why? Because the Eagles took it away. The Eagles took the ball away from Washington. But, and it's a huge but. Washington's not Kansas City, okay? So forget about that. Do not compare the Washington Commanders offense and Jaden Daniels to Patrick Mahomes II. It's just not comparable. And rightfully, Gannon was blamed for that loss. Remember, he was flirting with going to Arizona at the time. People were questioning whether he had both feet in and his whole soul into that game.
Right.
He blitzed Mahomes 32% of the time. 32% of the time, and did not get home. That was his highest blitz percentage in any game that year. So they could not get home. They had a bad defensive game plan. They couldn't keep Mahomes in the pocket in the second half. That's where this game will be won or lost.
How's Dickerson?
Dickerson's the big question mark. You hit the nail on the head, as usual. I think Juergens will be fine with the back injury. Dickerson has a knee injury. They did not practice today, but if they had practiced, he would not have practiced. The other one to watch is Devontae Smith with a hamstring injury. Anytime you're telling me my wide receiver has a hamstring injury, I anticipate that in New Orleans, he'll still be listed as a limited participant come Wednesday. I think they won't rush him back. You want to get him on the field, they won't rush him back, and they just got to get Dickerson as plenty of rest as possible. But listen, it's about the Eagles' defense and Mahomes. Mahomes had 6 rushes for 44 yards. I think they keep him under 44 in Super Bowl 59. I think they keep him under 44 rushing yards. Kelsey had 6 targets for 6 catches. I think Kelsey's going to have more because the Eagles' defense leaves the middle of the field open, and Mahomes will try to get the ball to Kelsey because he won't be able to run.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think this game, you can make the case here for it to be a tight ends game, right? Yeah. Eagles, like you just said, no, they've been great against tight ends, but the middle of the field there has been a problem for them. And as you pointed out halfway through the season with Quinn Mitchell in the secondary, like those players are elite. So I don't think it's going to be a big wide receiver game for the Chiefs. That means Kelsey, obviously, in big games will probably step up here. And then Goddard could be eating in this game all day long, Sal.
Yes, he could. I agree with you 100%. Your analysis is spot on. This is a tight ends game, exactly for the reasons you just laid out. The Eagles are susceptible in the middle of the field to tight end play. They will key on Mahomes. They don't want Mahomes to kill them in this game with his legs. And so that means he'll be looking for Kelsey for an outlet here or there. Kelsey may not have big yardage. He may not have 100, but he's going to have 8, 9, 10 catches in this game.
Wow.
Okay, again, strong.
Well, I saw what Ertz did, so I'm picking up what you're putting down, too. Ertz was awesome.
Yeah, he was awesome. He had a lot of catches, right? But how much damage did he really do, right? How much damage in the end? But it's different. It's Again, please do not compare these two teams, Washington and the Chiefs. It's just different, completely different. It's amazing. The Eagles have led for 154 minutes and 24 seconds out of 160 minutes of game time this postseason. That's 85.8%, the highest percentage in a single postseason since the 94 Niners, 30 years ago. 94 Niners, and the 94 Niners were an all-time great team. That was one of the all-time great teams. So this Eagles offense is really, really good. It's the defense you have to be concerned about against Mahomes on third down in the fourth quarter. The Eagles will score in this game. 100% will score. They'll score big in this game. The question is, can they stop Mahomes from coming back?
Wow, they'll score big. Also, plus 10 in the turnover differential in the playoffs. It's a 51-yard field goal for the win. Your level of confidence in Elliott.
Oh, man. Oh, man, that's a good one. I love that one. You put me right on the spot with that one. Wow. 51. So you're right on the cusp. Right? You didn't go 55.
No.
This is what. No, you didn't go 53. You didn't go 49. You went just a little bit outside of his norm this year. My level of confidence indoors. Now, remember, it's indoors. Indoors, 100%.
Come on.
Okay, you lost me for the first time.
Oh boy, you're appealing to the mailman and the guy who cuts your grass. That's what they're listening to right now.
Okay, so we're gonna we have like a minute left here, Sal Pal, and we're just busting chops here. But
no, that's good. I like it. Hey, Vito's sons. It's normal. That's normal operating procedure. I get it.
Okay.
But I'm not just saying that. I'm saying if it's indoors from 51 yards to win the game, he will make that kick.
All right, 30 seconds here. We're going to get your official pick next Wednesday. But if the Eagles win this game, Barkley's going to win the MVP, right?
No, I think it'll be Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
He's loving Hurts.
Yes, Jalen Hurts will be the MVP. Hey, he was 20 of 28 against Washington.
Hey, don't compare this Chiefs team to Washington.
Yeah, but he's definitely on a roll. He's out of the straitjacket now. Come on.
Yeah, you're right.
Out of the straitjacket, straight to the MVP. Listen, I think the Eagles will score on the Chiefs. Can they stop Mahomes in the fourth quarter? That's the key. Don't make it too hard. Don't make it too complicated now. Come on now.
We'll catch up next Wednesday. You're going to be live from New Orleans. You're the best. Enjoy it down there, okay?
5 cannolis.
There you go. Sal Pell on the Progressive Guest Line. More props coming up next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Great appearance from Sal Pal. Previous segment, by the way, coming up in 15 minutes. Mike Palm's going to join the program. We'll get his early thoughts on the Super Bowl. But if you miss Sal Pal, just tuning in, number one, you can always go back and catch the replay of this show and every show on VSiN. We implore you to go and get the brand new VSiN Watch app available on your iPhone or Android today. Just search VSiN Watch. It's going to pop right up. Boom, there you go. Replays are going to be available on that bad boy. But this is what Sal said again. He explained that the Bills went back to playing their coverage concepts in the fourth quarter. And when you use a dedicated spy, that means you're basically -1 on defense. So he asked the question, where is that? You can rush 3, for example, or remove an underneath zone defender, but you will always be down a defender because he is now responsible for mirroring the quarterback. And he brought up the name Oren Burks. He was used at times to spy Daniels in the Philadelphia-Washington game, but he would also look to help in coverage if the quarterback stayed in the pocket. Sal thinks at times Burks will be used to spy Mahomes. For example, if it's going to be like 3rd and 7, say, Mahomes is the best scrambler in the league because he is so instinctual as a runner. Plus, he is running to throw. Dual threat scrambler who can extend drives. That's going to be where the game is won or lost, basically. Now, again, he said that the Eagles are absolutely going to score in this game on Kansas City. And I totally trust that, too.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Big Hurts fan. Big Hurts fan. Through the air.
Hurts wins the MVP if they win.
Out of the straitjacket.
I don't know about that.
Love it. Okay. Next week we'll ask him, does Barkley go over his prop then? Maybe his answer is no. And it's all about through the air. Hello, Goddard. A.J. Brown's going to be a problem. Oh, I could see him having a big game, too.
Oh, I didn't know which way you were going to go with that. Is he going to be a problem mentally, or is he going to be...
No. He's so good and so damn big, right? He embarrassed Lattimore. Ate him for lunch.
Yeah, Chiefs have good guys in the secondary, though.
I think this...
McDuffie's good.
I also think 2 years ago helps him, though. And rightfully, like you said, rightfully so, they pinned it on Gannon. But I think it's a different ball game with Fangio.
I forgot about what he said there. In the second half, Mahomes picked up 15 first downs.
It's crazy.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
But again, that's who he is, and it's the biggest game, so...
Should have been a comfortable lead at halftime, though. That fumble was huge. And they're driving up 7, and he puts it on the ground, and it's scoop and score.
Here's one thing that you have to consider as well. I mean, Andy Reid cannot get lost in the shuffle here. He's one of the best head coaches in the history of the sport. People today were I saw film guys today making the case that he's the best offensive coach that's ever lived. And they were
Bill Walsh?
Yeah, they were pointing out that the narrative for the Chiefs has been the same thing now for a couple of years, right? It's almost like, take the Celtics, for example, a team in the NBA over the years that, okay, they won the title recently, and now they know that they can coast during the regular season, and come playoff time, they can turn it on. They still won 15 games in the regular season. But I saw a film guy today point out that there was a play that the Chiefs ran where they were pulling a tackle to the left side. It was on the Mahomes scramble, and then he would come to the right. Bills players after the game last week said not once did that play show up on film the entire year. Not one time.
Wow.
So Andy Reid, that's like telling you right there, it's proof that Andy Reid is saving some of the best stuff for the postseason.
I thought the Bills were. What happened to that?
I didn't see it.
Charlie check down every play?
I hated the game plan.
I know.
They could easily be here, man.
They should be. Sal's right. It would have been nuts. Bills Mafia and the Eagle fans. Oh.
We could go back 2 weeks and say the Ravens really blew it against Buffalo in the first case.
No question. Might have been the best team. Definitely AFC.
Did he change your opinion on betting the missed extra point at plus 330?
No.
He said 100% Elliott from 51. Bang, good?
Because it's indoors. Come on. Been a problem all year. That's why I picked 51. Because anything beyond 50 has been a disaster.
Can you bet the longest field goal attempt by these teams? Because Sirianni at some point will trot him out there for an inexplicable 54-yarder.
Oh, Reed will trust Butker from way out.
He should trust him.
There's a prop at Caesars, 53.5. That's out there.
I just want to attempt, though.
Made, right. That I don't know. I doubt it. That one I think going to be hard to find. But let me look. They had something up at Caesars about, I think, 53.5 with a good plus return, obviously. But that guy I can trust.
How about how high he was on Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
He just said...
Huge. But, based on what Ertz did, it makes sense.
He just basically said that Kelce's going to have 8, 9, 10 catches in this game. Like the middle of the field is going to be there for Mahomes to pick him apart with Kelce. Again, every Chiefs game plan has been different. The Texans game, offensively for that team, did not look much like the game against Buffalo. It is interesting, though, because the Eagles allowed the fewest yards to tight ends in the league throughout the entire year.
Yep.
But now everybody's talking about this. Sal being he does all the matchups for ESPN as well, so he knows this as well as anybody. But he's like, the middle of the field can be had. Also tells me if Noah Gray did nothing last week. Does this mean that Noah Gray might be a guy that you want to have your eyes on?
I don't know. That's a tough call as well. I got everything you want, kicking related, except that. A field goal in every quarter, 5-1. Made field goal over 53.5 yards, 4-1. That's not bad.
Butker can do that.
I got a huge leg. How many did he make against the Niners? Didn't he make 3?
I think he had 4 last year.
Yeah.
I'll check that right now.
Yeah, check that. I got everything. Distance of the first made. Distance of the last made. Yardage of all made. Exact made field goals. Longest kickoff return. Total made field goals. The alt numbers. Field goal second quarter, first quarter, third quarter, all of it.
I don't know. Are these teams going to be settling for field goals, or are too many touchdown opportunities going to be there?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, it goes back to what happened last week. 55 points, but they don't have a field goal. Though they did try it, and he missed, wasn't even close from 54, which I still can't believe he tried that. Oh, outside, wind, 54 yards? Come on.
Silly.
Yeah, and that's what concerns me, too, about Reed against Sirianni.
Butker was 4 of 4 last year. That's why it was actually live for him to win the MVP.
Yeah.
He made a 57-yarder.
Now, what was the scenario? What quarter? Do you have it there? You got the box score?
I can pull that up, too. I wanted to also point out that
Did he just try it before halftime? Or did he say, okay, 4th and 7, get out of here?
I'll get that in a second.
Yeah.
Remember, Moody last year for the Niners, 3 of 3, he had a 55-yarder. Remember, both guys hit 50. That was a huge number that came in last year. Both guys kicked 55-plus yard field goals.
God. Okay.
I think there was a combination out there, or a bet will both kickers have 50-plus yard field goals. That was a huge number. Let me see where I can... Third quarter.
Yeah, he made it in the third quarter. Whoop-de-doo, no big deal. Okay, I trust you. Go out here. He also hit the upright. That came in last year.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to find out, Luke, you might have it too, when the field goal came in from Moody from 55. 53-yarder, fourth quarter. It put him up 9. They tried a 53-yarder on 4th and 5.
Of course, Shanahan, of course.
And to put him up 19-16. That's right. That was with a minute 53 left in the game.
Oh.
And he hit it, and they could not. There you go. How many sacks are you going to get from Mahomes?
There it was. He misses.
That's right. He
Butker
misses.
makes
Butker
it.
comes down.
Hello.
5 field goals. I win. I cash 410-1.
Yeah, I had it too. Yeah.
I got that right before you did. Yes.
Oh, God. We got something here. Could be.
Well, I'll tell you what. If it happens this year, I bring this up all. If Butker wins Super Bowl MVP, we're having a cabana party at Stadium Swim, and it's on me. That's going to. If he wins it, it's a full-blown.
And the tip. You got the tip, too.
I don't want to go that far.
Those girls are aggressive, too.
Yeah.
They'll let you know.
I'll spend plenty of money, and we'll make it like a viewing party where the audience members can, if they're in town, whatever big weekend, it's on me if Butker wins the MVP.
All right. No big game is complete without the classic game of squares. This year, make it even better. Circa Squares bets from Circa Sports. With Circa Squares, you get to choose your square and the numbers you want. Each square has its own odds. You're always in control of your bet. Download the Circa Sports Nevada app today, place your Circa Squares bet, and check out all the states that you can bet this in at Circa. Turn your big game into a big win with Circa Sports. Get it now. It's up. It's fantastic. You can win $100,000.
That's painful, actually, a year ago. And you're spot on. Great recall by you. I had him at 400 and 410-1. Several bets on him. If Moody misses that, it's 16-16, a minute 53 to play. Chiefs come down, melt the clock.
He's got it.
Butker again from 42, bang, 5th of the game. He's the MVP of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes did nothing in the game before then. Oh. But I like
he tried the field goal that he made and put, and then I think he went for it in overtime. On a fourth down, they found Kittle.
Yeah,
and
but then they
settled
settled for a field
3.
goal eventually.
Yeah.
I just don't like. I loved it. I loved the idea of it last year because it could have been a really low-scoring game against San Francisco's defense, and that's the way it was going. I don't think it's going to happen again this year.
Okay.
But Mike Palm, VP, Circa Resort and Casino, on the program coming up next. Where does the Super Bowl number close, in his opinion? And I think he might have some strong thoughts on the MVP numbers as well. That's next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
And the first 90 minutes of the show feels like about 5 minutes here. It continues, only going to get better as the VP of Circa Resort and Casino, the D and the Golden Gate here in downtown Las Vegas. Mike Palm joins the program. It is Wednesdays with the Maestro. How are you, pal?
Oh, hello, Mitch. Hello, Paul. I'm glad you're feeling better. Nice to have
Much
you back.
better.
Wonderful.
Yeah, cough gone. That's the main
Everything.
thing.
100%.
Good for you. Hey, Mike.
No, not 100%.
Not 100%. 80%.
Okay, so crazy week we talked to Derek Stevens about this yesterday. We'll get into that in a minute here. But you were the person I was talking to. I didn't say your name because I didn't know if you were okay with that. But I texted you earlier if Barkley could possibly go back to 3-1 to win the Super Bowl MVP. What did you tell me?
I thought no, because unless Mahomes really got hammered. I said on Monday, not here, I wasn't on this network, but on several interviews that I'm doing across the country to promote Circa, Squares, and all that stuff. It's unfathomable to me that he and Hurts were the same price. I mean, to me, Barkley should have been plus $250 and Hurts $5. I don't see the scenarios where Hurts wins the MVP. I don't see the scenarios where Hurts passes for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Wow. He did it 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's a different team. It's a totally different team.
They're better.
Yeah, they're better with Barkley.
Well, they also have a potent passing attack.
Also, the Chiefs' defense is better than 2 years
true.
ago.
Yeah.
I would make that argument.
Okay.
I would make that argument. Why bet Mahomes? Mahomes' price is about the same as the Kansas City money line. What, 15 cents difference? There's no point of betting Mahomes at all, to me, in my mind. I took the $3 on Monday. I don't think it gets back to $3.
You're not the only person. I've had other people tell me the same thing. So you like the Eagles in the game?
I like the Eagles in the game, and I took over 48 because I think this thing closes north of 50.
I think you're right.
I really do, especially Because the last two things we saw, both those conference championship games went over with ease. There was never any point, unless you said the first 10-minute drive by the Commanders, kick a field goal, would say, oh, maybe it could be an under game. They went up and down the field in both games.
Sal Paolantonio was so strong. He said it 3 or 4 times 30 minutes ago. He said the Eagles are going to score in this game. They will score. Trust me on this. The biggest question is, will they be able to contain Patrick Mahomes, obviously?
The Chiefs haven't scored 30 points in a game yet. You have to remember this, right? I mean, so if you think the Eagles can get to 32 or 35, you would have to bet the Eagles in that spot.
How's the action been so far?
The action has been more on over, and then we get the buyback, public money over, and then we get a few sharps buying back. We never got to 50 yet. We've got the 49.5 a couple times. We were teetering on going to 2 Sunday night. And one of our customers called up and said they wanted to bet $1 million, 1.1 to win $1 million. We didn't know the side yet. He called, talked to Jeff, but then he said, well, there's 2s now at other books. So obviously he wanted the Eagles. But we never got to 2. So we never got the bet, which maybe was a good thing.
Yeah.
It would have been okay if we got it at 1.5 and then we were still getting Chiefs money. The outcome for our future book, so these exactas are so popular, Mitch. All these Super Bowl exactas. Of course, the killer was Chiefs over Packers. We were a $10 million loser, too.
Oh, Jesus.
The same guy that hit the $3 million on the Chiefs, remember?
Yeah.
300,000 at 10-1 came back and pounded this twice. Once at 51-1, once at 29-1. Chiefs over Packers. So that was the big liability. He had to win $10 million. All the other scenarios, except one, were winners to us. And it's Chiefs over Eagles, which is a small loser. Eagles over Chiefs is a nice winner. So we're already starting like a $400,000 swing to need the Eagles in the exacta markets.
Wow.
So we'll see what happens. Remember 2 years ago they bet the Eagles to favoritism. This is the same way it evened out. I wonder if it could cross.
I was going to ask you, where do you think it closes?
Well, it seems like there's more anti-Chiefs sentiment, right? We desperately needed the Chiefs on Sunday afternoon. Desperately needed them. They bet Buffalo. Now we still couldn't kill the teasers, right? Every teaser in the world was Eagles to Bills. But we desperately needed them. And we had no win in the NFC Championship game. We were sunk because we had booked to need the Lions. We had kept the Lions price the lowest all season and had every other price attractive or best in market. So we were sunk with either of those outcomes. But we got it back with the Chiefs, winning by 2 or more is what we needed.
You think Johnson's right, Carl Johnson? The Eagles could go the favorite?
I heard him say that on Monday. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if you consider, where Tom Gable is in charge of that book, right? Yeah. At the Borgata in Atlantic City, they're going to take nothing but Eagles money.
But that's a home team for them, too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Be like Dodgers here.
Lakers. Oh. Well, I know. Yeah.
They're starting to get a little bit away from that.
What was it like here with the pressure that the staff was under on Saturday, knowing if you make a mistake, it's national news?
Well, first of all, it's pretty incredible that he came here, right? I mean, and Derek and them and John Fiato, who is our VP in charge of security, is best in the business.
No doubt.
Obviously, they knew about it first because they let them know. They had to vet him, and all those different government agencies all had to come through here and give their sign-off that this was okay, this was the place, what were the routes of egress, and where he would walk, and how could they secure all these areas, how could they secure the casino, and all these things like that. Was the ballroom big enough, the acoustics, all of this sort of stuff. And I guess in a process of about 24 hours, we found out we were going to host it like at 4:30 Thursday afternoon. I found out shortly after that. I didn't know that I would have that big of a role, but because I sit on the board of directors of the American Gaming Association, they reached out to me and said, hey, we just gave your name to the White House. The White House needs some help coordinating a couple of human interest stories for President Trump's speech. So I get a call at 11 a.m. from this lady from the White House and says, are there a couple of employees that how no tax on tips would significantly change their lives that would be good human interest stories that the president could use in his speech and they would willing to stand there and the president would call them out and they could stand up. They probably wouldn't speak, which obviously the way it was barricaded, they couldn't anyhow because the only access to the stage was from behind. But could you do this? And I said, sure, we could start looking into these human, because we don't know everybody's human interest story. Plus, you want to have somebody that's very presentable, obviously. And so, basically half the employees are out because half the employees are for him, half are against him, right? And so then you have to go about, you're trying to want to get one union, one non-union. So we start thinking of dealers, cocktail waitresses, bartenders, right? Somebody threw in valets. That was a good example, too. We start calling people up. What's your story? Did you want to be at the president's speech? Would you be mind being mentioned? And then I get another call at like 2 o'clock, and she's like, okay, it's 5 o'clock here. The speechwriters need to start wrapping this up. We need something within the hour. So we're throwing it together. I interviewed about half a dozen people, and I picked 2 people that I thought their stories were pretty compelling. I typed it up, sent it off to them, and, and the most amazing part of the whole thing was that one of the 2 ladies was a dealer, right, who has some medical issues, and this would really help her to save for the surgery she needs, right? And she's a single mother, and she's got a 9-year-old son, a 7-year-old daughter. They used to live in Seattle. She worked at Snoqualmie. She's been dealing since she was 21. So anyhow, I said to her, while we were waiting to go through security to get into the event, I said, did you tell your kids what you were doing today? She said, yes, and my son is not happy. I said, what do you mean? She says, in school in Seattle, they teach that Trump's a bad person. I mean, that's part of the public school curriculum. So he said, Mommy, why would you do it for that bad man, right? That blew my mind, that story. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure. Like we talked about when he would walk through this area coming out from behind the bar and then exit, right? Don't have any water bottles with caps on them. Take the caps off if because no projectiles that anybody could throw at the president.
Oh, God.
Well, then like 30 minutes while he's giving his speech and that, they're like Secret Service saying, what are all these ashtrays on the table? You never even think about that. And we have very heavy, very robust ashtrays. Get all the ashtrays off the table, right? It's so meticulous.
Wow.
I have to tell you, I don't know if I've ever felt that kind of emotion. I was in the second row right in front of him with the 2 employees that he mentioned. I mean, just the excitement and the energy that was in the ballroom there, and then listening to him speak, it's an experience that you don't think you're ever going to have, and I didn't think I would feel the emotions in that moment, to be, 10, 12 yards from the President of the United States.
Big for your casino here.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's a tip of the cap that we got picked out.
Yeah. How about what Derek said about putting the plaque there? This is where he stood on the craps table.
I think we should do. I think we should do a special. I think we need to monetize this. All the dealers wear blue suits with red ties, and we pay 6 to 5 on the don't pass line. Some sort of a promotion, right?
God.
Right? Do you like the plaque idea where he was standing at the craps table?
And they got that with Sammy Davis and the Rat Pack over there.
That's great. I know.
Trump stood here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, some people would move, I guess. But
some people would be pissed off, yes.
50-50. I mean, it's so 50-50 with everything. But what a hell of a first weekend, the way to cap it off. I mean, he goes to North Carolina and gets these people in homes, and he goes to L.A. and the fires and comes here. And pretty big first week. He's got a very good comic sense of timing when he speaks. I have to tell you that. Right? And you're sitting there and you can see him and his expressions and all that, and a lot of it's jokes, and he says I'm exaggerating, but not that much. That he does have a good comic sense of timing.
I think my favorite part of the story yesterday that Derek told was he said basically there are countless agencies who have to come out here and check it out, right? Yep. More than you ever imagine. And there was one guy, like almost not Trump's right-hand man, but he's up there, right? Who told Derek specifically, now all these people have to come here and vet Circa. I don't. I'm aware of the property. I'm the one who's pushing it. I love it. And Derek's like, well, how is that? Oh, my buddies come out to Stadium Swim and have our fantasy football draft every year.
Last 4 years they've had their draft at Stadium. So Derek had 5 minutes with him. I said, what you leave him with is most important.
Yeah.
Because in those 5 minutes, he doesn't know what the excise tax was. Get him some good reading material for that long plane ride home.
I thought he nailed it. We're getting ready for Big Game 59 with a big deal to match. Save $59 off the VSiN Pro annual subscription. Promo code FTM. Every best bet, every host, every guest. Wes Reynolds trying to make it 4 in a row in golf. Dog videos, vsin.com/subscribe, and get the Super Bowl betting guide. Code FTM.
More with Mike Palm up next. It might be a rough cycle of new NFL coaches based on introductory press conferences. You cannot be serious. Next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We're live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. It is Wednesdays with the Maestro, the VP of this great property. Mike Palm is with us. You know it. You love it. You want it every single week. Here you go. Time now for You Cannot Be Serious.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious.
You know, Mitch and Paul, there was a lot of excitement around this coaching cycle here with the jobs that were open and the big-name candidates. And I thought it was a tremendously disappointing week of first press conferences for these new coaches in new places. Let's start out in Jacksonville, where Liam Cohen, I thought, made a complete rear end of himself in this folksy version of saying how this is the first community he's ever felt he's been able to grow roots in.
Duval.
What is he saying? He was an offensive coordinator at Tampa Bay. What's he saying about Todd Bowles? In none of these coaching stops has he ever been able to grow roots. There's no community like Jacksonville. I feel now, and his kid's named Jackson, and this and Callahan, all kind of nonsense. And then he and Shad Khan sit up there. Let's not forget, 4 days earlier, he turned down an interview. He didn't even want to interview for this job. And they fire Balky. Oh, interview, boom, he's hired. Shad Khan and Cohen sit there. They were questioned 3 times during the press conference. What changed your mind? Oh, I knew all along this was the job for me. Shad Khan, we knew all along this was the only guy we wanted to. All nonsense. Lying to your face. All right, then let's go to New York. This is probably the least egregious of the win. But my point is there was only one adult in the room this week. Let's listen to Aaron Glenn, former Jet, so now becoming their head coach. Have we got the sound on this? Okay, but it's a very, very short quote. If he says we were built for this, SHI, I mean, what kind of a presence is this that you have to use profanity during your first press conference? I also want to note something I find particularly peculiar. All these Lions fans that I know, your buddy included, they're all very happy for Aaron Glenn. He deserved it. He deserved his chance. And all of them are very quick to say Ben Johnson cost us our season. They're to hell with that. I mean, to a man, they're like that. To hell with that guy. I think when they thought he was going to the Raiders, they didn't mind. But now that he's going to the Bears, they want to bury this guy. And then for the biggest shenanigans of all, what kind of a scene was this down in Dallas to announce Brian Schottenheimer as the new head coach? Let's listen to Jerry Jones about the hire.
Now, I get my proverbial ass kicked over needing people in my comfort zone. Without this thing being about me in any way, if you don't think I can't operate out my comfort zone, you're so wrong. It's unbelievable. This is as big a risk as you could take. As big a risk as you could take. No head coaching experience. Now, let me share something with you. With all of that, you've just heard him reference his osmosis, his family. Anybody in this room that doesn't believe the apple doesn't go far from the tree has missed it someplace down the road.
Let me address this in several ways. Marty Schottenheimer was a defensive coach. What does the dad have anything to do with this? What is it, he's got a clutch gene for the playoffs? Well, you can't say that about old Marty. Number 2 question I have is, why was Brian Schottenheimer even on the stage? This was part of an 11-minute answer that Jerry gave that was all about himself. Yes. All he did was talk about himself, nothing to do with Brian Schottenheimer. And then the dumb son, Steven, telling the drought, misquoting everything and mocking the fan. This was the biggest sham of them all. There was one adult in the room in any of these press conferences this week. One adult in the room. It was Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll was the only guy that gave an insightful, inspiring press conference to his new team, and hats off to him. But as far as the Jacksonville Jaguars, New York Jets, and Dallas Cowboys go,
you cannot be serious.
All right, now let's go to the scene of the crime, Arrowhead. Let's dissect this a little bit on Sunday. You know, the biggest travesty of this whole thing, and we can talk about the worthy catch, and we will, and the 4th down thing. The biggest travesty is the punt return right before the worthy catch with 3 minutes to go in the half, 4 minutes to go, when it's 14-10. Go back, folks. We can't show you live footage here. I just have a still shot of one of them. I went and watched this about 20 times. There's at least 4 holding calls. Most people said 3. I found 4 holding calls. 2 at the point of attack. There's 1 here on the near side around the 30. And then he was held twice. He was held at the 40, and then he's held again at the 47. He turns his shoulders so that he can get by him. 41-yard punt return. I know there's a defensive hold. Let's go to the next slide. I know there's a defensive holding call on the worthy, but they're going to get the ball at the 24, 1st and 10, not at the 5-yard line. And in what universe, with 2 guys clutching a ball that rolls onto the ground, neither person has firm control, can you say that this is definitively an offensive catch? And I don't blame McDermott for challenging here because he's saving 20 yards of field position. Hopefully you hold him to a field goal, you would have been tied at half. Confirmed. Another call confirmed. They got to put a chip in the ball. I mean, they have to. They do it in that Stormies League, XFL, UFL, whatever, it's PFL. They put the USFL, they put the chip in the, they put the chip in the ball. It's beautiful. They go, they run a 3rd down play. It comes up in 30 seconds. 8 inches to go, 4 inches to go. He achieved the first. There's no arguing. It's like in baseball now when they have the robotic strike zone. You can't argue it. It is whatever the computer said. The biggest thing, how about if you could do that, you wouldn't have to worry about when the field goals go above the upright. And nobody can tell whether it was good or not because the field goal was too high. You don't want to extend the uprights another 10 feet, put the chip in the ball. The punt out of bounds, you got two 80-year-old guys trying to triangulate where the ball went over the other. Just put the chip in the ball. There's the play and the second shot. Obviously, look at the guy coming from the top. He's got it good by the length of the ball.
Yeah.
And then they confirm it again. They confirm it.
He gets overruled.
He gets overruled coming from the bottom and moving it back almost a full yard. And then on the very last play, with the 4th and 5 play with the 2-minute warning to go, there was a flag on the field. I didn't see it, but the graphics said flag. Jim Nantz says, but wait, Tony, there's a flag. Let's see what the flag is. Oh, no, there's no flag. It's Chiefs' ball. He didn't catch it.
They picked it up.
They picked it up. What was it for? Man downfield in case he caught it? Well, I mean, I don't think there's a conspiracy, but they're bad. And it's easy to say you're 8-0 in one-score games when every call goes your way, too. I mean, it's seemingly ridiculous. They can't have one bad call go against them. Mm-hmm. Not one. And then when they had the offensive offsides on Tony, Mahomes lost his mind. He lost his mind. I'm over it. Roger Goodell, Troy Vincent, Roman George.
You cannot be serious.
This last one is really cool. Our good friend Hal Steinbrenner. Sounds like he's the owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yes.
You know what we should call him? Small market Hal. Because they just, it's not fair, the big bad Dodgers. It's just not fair. They're spending too much money. How can we compete with the Dodgers? They spent $400 million, and they pay $100 million tax for doing it. How can we compete with them? The Yankees' payroll was the third highest behind the Dodgers and the Mets, $303 million. The Yankees' revenue was the highest in Major League Baseball because of that Yes Network. $720 million. They're not losing on that 720. They've had a positive even to the last 2 years. But poor Hal, he's got no money left to compete with the Dodgers. I think I found out why. He gave John Sterling a $6,000 TV after calling Yankees games for 35 years. He blew the bank on the LG. Hal Steinbrenner.
You cannot be serious.
Thank you. Remember that ridiculous gift that they gave to him? Called 5,000 straight games.
Of course.
It popped for the LG TV.
And look at this. Look at the photo they took.
They were very proud of it, Mitch.
There's 40 people out there. What a moment.
That doesn't even come close to like the grand prize, the showcase showdown on Price is Right.
No, not even
That's
half
like
of it.
one thing.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
Not even
Bro,
half
thanks
of
for what you've done. Okay,
How embarrassing.
Oh, God.
The whole thing.
The comments.
It's embarrassing. His comments are embarrassing for Yankees fans.
Okay, but how pissed, like Yankees fans?
So they're pissed.
They should be pissed.
They are pissed.
They have to be pissed at this.
I read all the comments with the story. It's like, come on, you make $500 million a year. What's wrong with you?
Taking shots at the Dodgers. Give me a break.
How about the end? Well, if they can stay healthy, we'll see.
Yeah.
Pitching staff was out. Didn't matter.
They had nothing.
My God.
How did they win the game in the bullpen game in San Diego in Game 4? Seriously.
Come on.
I mean, nobody's talking about anything. They get knocked out in the first round again.
Right?
You nailed it, though, too, in the other league, what they talked about, and they have to fast-track it. It's also what it can do. Where's the ball? First down. Where's the quarterback in out of the pocket?
Yep.
Punts out of bounds. Field goals, as you mentioned.
It can also tell you offside and false starts.
Come on.
All of it. If they go forward, it can tell you all of it.
Yeah. Ready to elevate your barbecue game? You need Sewell's, the ultimate crowd pleaser for the next cookout. What started as a backyard recipe in a mason jar has grown into a southern sensation, winning over taste buds from Georgia to the Carolinas. Whether you're have the smoky ribs, saucing up tender wings, or crafting the perfect burger, Sewell's barbecue sauce brings bold, unforgettable flavor to every bite. We love it. Order yours today, Sewell'sBarbecueSauce.com. Southern hospitality never tasted so good. Sewell's barbecue sauce. Great barbecue starts with great sauce. Sewell'sBarbecueSauce.com.
And Mike, I don't want to hear one more time, well, the shin might be down or the elbow might be down. The chip is going to signify when it crosses that line of scrimmage or when it hits a certain yard marker, and it's going to be a first down. That way we're going to know, and you can sync it up with all the 29 different camera angles that you have.
There's no debate. They have it as quick as the K comes onto that box in baseball, whether it's a ball or a strike.
That's right.
And nobody argued in that. I watched those games, especially the one Storm was on. There was no arguing about it whatsoever. And they know exactly what your fourth down is to the inch. They can tell you.
Great stuff.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
Big show today. Loaded.
We'll continue up next. A little basketball card coming up. He has hit his rebounding prop for tonight. And that number, 12 straight games. Find out the player next.